This is just the letters of the alphabet alphabetized, so you've got to unscramble them. This is one that was down here at one time. Anybody recognize it? Who's a Star Trek fan? It's Romulan and Klingon. So it's whatever the numbers are. I happen to know somebody knew Star Trek and says, oh, that's blah, 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 blah. So I was like, okay. This is another one that was from down here. I think it was elementary. My dear Watson? Anybody? A chemist? No. Yeah, chemist. Come on, you're close. It's the symbols for the elements. I believe this is on the website too, but I'm not certain. But these are just all examples that you're going to find in one place or another.
Okay, which one are you talking about?
This was the periodic symbol. So MO is, I can't remember what they are, but they're like O for oxygen, H for hydrogen, etc.
What about the one above it?
The one above it, it's the title of a book, and it actually gives you the authors. This is one that I did, and I basically went through and I assigned A to the first letter that came up. And just random numbers that I assigned to these, so that's all just, you gotta figure out what these letters, or what the numbers represent in letters. This is bibliography. Another one down here. This is one from, I think, Arizona. When I did this one, I was looking on the internet for different websites. And my advice is, if you find a website, even if you don't think it's working, bookmark it, so you got it for future reference. These are written words in multiple different languages for 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And the one website I came across had 4,000 different languages listed. So you just have to figure out which one this is. I'm going to show you later a whole series of puzzles in what I consider increasing order of difficulty. And I want to go through some of those ideas right now with you. So level 1 is going to be the easiest ones, and they're like location puzzles. You show up at the location, get some numbers, and go find a cache. An example would be the cemetery caches. You go find a gravestone, you use a date of birth, or date of death or something, and do some relatively simple math. But since R.C. Flyer's not here, I'm going to pick on him and his wife, Windwalker. They're notorious for having hard math. And I've criticized him over and over again to his face. It's like, you don't know what you're doing. We did one puzzle of theirs. We could never figure out what the math was, so we just wandered around the cemetery and found the cache. Which is, sometimes you can do it. I've done others actually too. Sometimes you look at a puzzle, and again, reading what's there in the hint in one cemetery was so obvious, it said the three trees. Well, there was only one set of 3 trees in the whole cemetery. I walked over and found the cache while the rest of the people were looking at the tombstone. Another example of a location cache is you show up and just follow some directions. It might be a projection. From this monument, go so many feet in such and such a direction. Another fairly easy one are 6-packs. You have to find 6 other caches, not necessarily puzzles, and each one of them gives you a number for the final. The problem is these have been extended to 10, 12, 15 different caches, depending upon how energetic the hider is. Level 2, you're getting into math. Sudoku is a big one. Those are fairly easy, and I think most people know how to do those. The one step beyond the Sudoku is a Ken-Ken. I don't know if anybody's ever run across them, but it's a little more complicated. It's a type of puzzle I cannot do. And so again, going back with the idea ask for help. Besides not figuring out the puzzle and asking someone how to do it, I have a set of people out there who I send things to. So if I find a Ken, I send it to the Nick of Time and she figures it out for me. If I have an origami, I send it to TJ Dancer. If I have a math problem, I send it to Case Button. So I know people who are good at certain things, and I ask them for the help. And I see no problem with that, because no one here is going to be able to figure out every single puzzle that's out there. You're going to need help. There's some puzzles coming out in the Appleton area based upon chess. I don't play chess. I don't know. It's just like, well, find somebody that knows how to play chess. Another one on level 2 would be like a cut and paste type function. One of the teachers out here, who's the teacher that was with you, Dave? He changed his name. He taught at a high school out there off the freeway. Whatever. Green and Gold or something. Anyways, he had some cut and paste puzzles, which is like cut up the pieces and then just got to sit there and rearrange them. It's sort of like a jigsaw puzzle. Another one would be like a word search, and you've probably all done word searches. And it's just a question of what are you going to end up with in the end. I did a word search in my area where I just did a whole bunch of different parks and just gave the word search list or the pattern, and I didn't tell anybody what they're looking for. I just said find everything that has a similar idea. So eventually people would figure out that they're all parks, and the word you're looking for is park, and you go from there. Okay, level 3, word scrambles. And one example I showed you here before, you had all the letters that were just all scrambled up. This one right here, you gotta sit down and like, okay, what are you looking for? Is it gonna spell out north 40, no, maybe, or is it gonna give you directions? Puzzles can, something like this, or any of these puzzles, can be two ways. They can spell out the word for, or they can give you the number for. And sometimes it's hard to tell which one you're looking for, so it's sort of a feel your way around it. Level 3, I also have math problems. Again, I was talking about them. Sometimes they're easy, sometimes they're not. There's one up in our area called Cranmer's equation, I think it is. It's like trigonometry or something. It's just like, another category in level 3, I would say, are mazes. There was an Alex's maze down here. I don't know if it's still active. It was on the Ice Age Trail someplace. The thing I found the problem with the mazes are the picture is clear on the page, but when you print it to figure it out, the quality of the letters and everything disappears, and it's very hard sometimes to read what you're looking at. I got an example later on. I'll show you what they look like. Level 4, you get a bunch of data of some type and you have to manipulate it somehow. It's in scrambled format, or it might be a list of names that you have to figure out, is there an order to them, or what do they mean? Another one here is information searches, where you have to Google something. There's a fair number of puzzles where you will find 6 or 7 or 8 questions, might be on Star Wars, or it might be on the history of something or other, and you have to Google to find answers. Generally, they are straightforward. Sometimes it can be a little more awkward. It depends upon the cache hider and what perverse ideas they have. There's one cache hider up in Appleton. It'll do one of these. It's got 6 questions. 5 of them are very easy. Number 6, you don't even know what he's asking for, let alone what the answer is. So again, it depends. Another example would be using local knowledge. Which one did you push, Ron? Howard? No. This is the puzzle. That's all you get. Once you figure out which map you need, you got to get the right proportions, and then you'll know which street corner it's on. This is another example of local knowledge. I figured out the location. This is a big location, let's say like a city block. And I figured it out almost immediately by looking at where are the fake coordinates and what's within 2 miles of it. It's like, oh, okay, this is actually City Park in Appleton. But this is all you get. This is an example where you do not come up with numbers for the final solution. You get a location. Anybody got any ideas? Close. It's the sidewalks. It's the sidewalks in the park. And reading the cache description tells you you have to look in a certain place. This is another one. And again, these are local knowledge. If you're not from the area, they're going to be hard to find. But again, I looked at the fake coordinates. It's like, oh, boom, I know where this is. I forgot what the name of this cache is. Something about brain tumor. The yellow tells you where the cache is, but you need to know where is that. Anybody got any ideas? Jim? Never did that one. Okay. It's a cemetery. The green and the red are the roads. Okay, now let's go back and start over with some easy ones. This is a level 1. It's as simple as it can get. Okay? To find the cache, walk 240 feet east of the coordinates. How much easier can it get? Now, if you see a Jim and Linda puzzle, this is what he does. They're very simple. I don't think you have a hard one at all, do you?
Not except for terrain part, not puzzle.
Okay.
You can do the puzzle part.
Here's another one of Jim's. And this is just show up and collect some information. It's a lot of information, but it still works out. It's not that difficult. It's similar, again, like most of the cemetery caches, where you find a headstone, find a date of death, do some numbers. If any of you have done some of my cemetery series in the 900s, this is an old ALR type that still exists. And if you're not familiar with ALRs, that was additional logging requirements. The original thing on this puzzle was you had to find a stone that looked like this one and post a picture of it. And where did you find it? Okay, now you can't require that, so now it's there and you can do it if you want. But again, some simple things.